everyone. Today we are going to discuss on the Chinese statue which is written by Jeffrey Archer, and it is there in the course of class 11th and 12th ISC. So let's first of all see the plot development of the story. See, the story here begins in an auction room at Sotheby's for auctioning a Chinese statue. So a statue was there among one of the it was one of those things that had to be auctioned in that room. So here the narrator, he gets interested that what is this Chinese statue and how is it has come here in the auction room. The statue was brought initially to London by Sir Alexander Heathcote from China when he was posted as a British ambassador. So when he was posted as a British ambassador, he brought the statue to London from China. Who? Sir Alexander Heathcote. So Sir Alexander, during his stay in Peking, went into the outlying districts to learn more about the country and its people. So when he was staying in China, so what he did was he wanted to have a good look at the life of the people and their culture. So he went around Peking and he went to the outlying districts in order to know more about the life of the people of China. So when he was on one such journey, then he came across the statue of the Emperor Kung, right? And it was the possession of an aging craftsman. Actually, he had gone to a craftsman, and there the craftsman had showed him many antique things. Among them, one of these was the statue of Emperor Kung. Sir Alexander was wonderstruck by the beauty of this statue, and he wished that he had this piece of artwork with himself. Now, hearing this, the craftsman was obliged to present him with this, though this statue was in the family of the craftsman from the 7 generations. And there was an old Chinese custom also that if any honored guest wishes something, then it is a duty of a person of China to present him with that wish. So because of this old Chinese custom, the craftsman had to give him this statue of the Emperor Kung. Since the statue had no base, so the craftsman, he just you can say he was trying to find one of the bases among all his artworks, and then he found an ornate base from his own collection and he fixed it at the base of the statue. Now Sir Alexander, he also, now there was another Chinese custom that if you are given a gift from some craftsman, then the person who has received that gift, then it is his responsibility to reciprocate it. That means to give him also with some other gift. So he reciprocated the craftsman by getting a house built on a hilltop, because it was always a wish of the craftsman to have a house at the hilltop. And because the craftsman thought that for the rest of his life it would be peaceful to live on the hilltop and having a house there. So from Sir Alexander, the statue passed on to his heirs. Now from generation to generation, this statue kept on moving in the generation or in the family of Sir Alexander. And Alex Heathcote, who was Sir Alexander's great grandson, now this statue passed to this grandson. He brought the statue to Sotheby's to auction. Now what was the reason that he had to give it for an auction? Although according to the will, the statue had to be passed from generation to generation. So what was the limitation, or what was the condition that this Alex Heathcote had to bring it to the auction room? This is because he had you can say lost everything in the gambling, and so he had to pay some debts in the gambling. So he had none other thing than this statue. Now Alex was surprised when he was told that the statue was fake. When the men at the this auction, they told him that the statue is of no worth. It is a worthless statue, but the base was quite precious. This statue was only of 700 pounds, but the base was a genuine piece of art. So the narrator, he brought the statue for 720 guineas. Now the narrator, he thought that why not buy this statue, so he bought it for 720 guineas. And an American gentleman, he brought the base for 22,000 guineas. This means the base was quite precious than the statue itself. Right? Now let's see the story. So let's look at the story. The little Chinese statue was the next item to come under the auctioneer's hammer. Lot 103 caused those quiet murmurings that always precede the sale of a masterpiece. The auctioneer's assistant held up the delicate piece of ivory for the packed audience to admire, while the auctioneer glanced around the room to be sure he knew where the serious bidders were seated. I studied my catalogue and read the detailed description of the piece and what was known of its history. Now here the story begins at the auction room at Sotheby's. Here the next item to be put on the auction was a little Chinese statue, and it was lot number 103. So as usual, whenever नीलामी, as we say in Hindi, नीलामी होती है, तो people they start murmuring, they start speaking to each other in whispers कि इसकी कीमत क्या होनी चाहिए, what should be the cost, and so lot of noise was there. Packed audience means there were lot of audience sitting together for the auction. So the auctioneer who was displaying that ivory statue, he was showing that ivory statue, holding it in his hand, and he was looking around the room to see that where the serious bidders would be. Bidders जो seriously बोली लगा सकते हैं इस स्टैचू की, तो he was looking around the room कि ऐसे कौन से लोग हो सकते हैं. Now meanwhile the narrator जो ये story बता रहा है, he was looking at the catalogue and reading entirely about that statue कि वो आई कहाँ से, उसकी history क्या है. It made him very curious कि ये जो इतनी कीमती सी statue लग रही है, where has it come from. The statue had been purchased in Ha Li Chuan in 1871 and was referred to as what Sotheby's quaintly described as a property of a gentleman. So here the first thing that he read in the catalogue was the statue was brought at Ha Li Chuan in 1871, and now it has come to the Sotheby's auction room, and the auctioneer is saying that it is a property of a gentleman, usually meaning that some member of the aristocracy did not wish to admit that he was having to sell off one of the family heirlooms. Why he said that it is a property of a gentleman, why he didn't take the name of that gentleman. उस ऑक्शनियर ने उसका नाम नहीं लिया जो रियल में इस स्टैचू का मालिक था. दिस मीन्स दैट द ओनर ऑफ द स्टैचू डिड नॉट वांट कि उसका नाम लोगों के सामने आए और लोग फिर बातें बनाने लगे कि ऐसी क्या बात है कि जो ख़ानदान में चला आ रहा था ये जो स्टैचू का प्रथा, ये ऐसी क्या बात हो गई कि इसे बेचना पड़े. राइट. I wondered if that was the case on this occasion and decided to do some research to discover what had caused the little Chinese statue to find its way into the auction rooms on that Thursday morning over 100 years later. Now, ये सब सोच रहा था कौन? The narrator was thinking कि ज़रूर कुछ ना कुछ हुआ होगा, किसी बड़े अरिस्टोक्रेसी फैमिली का ये स्टैचू है, and something would have happened that the owner had to sell this statue and keep it on an auction. तो इट मेड हिम वेरी मच एंक्शस, उसको ज़्यादा वो जिज्ञासा भी, एंड ही वांटेड टू नो एवरीथिंग अबाउट दैट स्टैचू, कि ऐसा क्या हुआ कि ये जो चाइनीज़ स्टैचू है इसको यहाँ नीलामी घर में रखना पड़ा, एंड दैट टू ऑन द थर्सडे मॉर्निंग, वो भी 100 years later. It means this story has been written around somewhere around 1971. Lot number 103 declared the auctioneer, what am I bid for this magnificent example of. Now auctioneer ने कहा ये lot number 103 है, इसके लिए आप लोग क्या बोली लगाते हैं. Sir Alexander Hathcote, as well as being a gentleman, was an exact man. He was exactly 6'3" and a quarter inches tall, rose at 7 o'clock every morning, joined his wife at breakfast to eat one boiled egg cooked for precisely 4 minutes, 2 pieces of toast with 1 spoonful of Cooper's marmalade, and drink 1 cup of China tea. Now here, यहाँ से कहानी शुरू होती है कि ये स्टैचू आई कहाँ से. तो सर अलेक्जेंडर हैथकॉट एक जेंटलमैन हुआ करते थे. ही वॉज वेरी पंक्चुअल मैन. ही यूज टू सिट एट हिज ब्रेकफास्ट टेबल एग्जैक्टली एट 7 o'clock in the morning, where he used to join his wife, and he used to eat 1 boiled egg which was exactly cooked for 4 minutes. 2 toasts were there. Then he used to eat 1 spoonful of Cooper's marmalade and 1 cup of China tea. ये उसका ब्रेकफास्ट का शेड्यूल होता था. And his height has been given as exactly 6'3" and a quarter inches tall. He would then take a hackney carriage from his home in Cadogan Gardens at exactly 8:20 and arrive at Foreign Office at promptly 8:59. फिर वो एक कैरेज उठाता था, हैकनी कैरेज, एंड देन इसका घर कहाँ था, एट कैडोगन गार्डन्स. तो यूज टू लिव इन कैडोगन गार्डन्स. एट एग्जैक्टली 8:20 पे वो निकलते थे, एंड एग्जैक्टली एट 8:59 ही यूज टू बी एट हिज ऑफिस. दैट मीन्स ही वॉज वेरी वेरी पंक्चुअल पर्सन. Returning home again on the stroke of 6 o'clock. And when the clock used to strike 6 o'clock, he used to be at home exactly at 6. Sir Alexander had been exactly from an early age as became the only son of a general. So from the early age only he was the only son of his father, and he became the general at an early age. But unlike his father, he chose to serve his queen. He was the only son of a general. His father was a general and he had no brothers, sisters, but he decided that I'll not take the profession of my father. मैं अपने father को follow नहीं करूँगा, मुझे queen को services देने हैं. So he progressed from so he used to serve his queen in diplomatic service. यानी वो चाहता था कि वो कुछ ambassador type की कोई job कर ले. And he progressed from a shared desk at Foreign Office in Whitehall to 3rd Secretary in Calcutta, to 2nd Secretary in Vienna, to 1st Secretary in Rome, to Deputy Ambassador in Washington, and finally to Minister in Peking. यानी इतनी सारी इसकी progress हुई करियर में. Look at the career graph. First of all, वो एक shared desk पे बैठता था किसी और इंसान के साथ Foreign Office में, Whitehall में. Then, due to his hard work, he progressed and he became the 3rd secretary in China. The 3rd secretary in Calcutta. Then he became the 2nd secretary in Washington. Okay. So he became the 3rd secretary in Calcutta, the 2nd secretary in Vienna, the 1st secretary in Rome, deputy ambassador in Washington, and finally a minister in Peking. So you can see the graph has increased due to his hard work. He was delighted when Mr. Gladstone invited him to represent the government in China, as he had for some considerable time taken more than an amateur interest in the art of Ming dynasty. वो ज़्यादा खुश हो गया था when Mr. Gladstone invited him to China to represent his country, and he himself had taken much time. एमेच्योर का मतलब अपने इंटरेस्ट के लिए ही वो मिंग डायनेस्टी के बारे में ज़्यादा पढ़ता था. हु? सर एलेक्जेंडर हेथकॉट. This crowning appointment in his distinguished career would afford him what until then he would have considered impossible, an opportunity to observe in their natural habitat some of the great statues. ना अब ये जो अपॉइंटमेंट उसको दी गई थी कि आप चाइना और विज़िट करो, तो इट वुड इंक्रीज़ हिज career graph. It would be an additional, you can say, virtue to his career, and he would have क्योंकि ये चीज़ उसके लिए काफ़ी इम्पॉसिबल थी कि ऐसे हालात में जहाँ पर ये मिनिस्टर बना हुआ है, तो it would have been impossible for him to carry on his passion also. So it was an opportunity to observe the natural habitat of the people of Peking, and also to observe the statues, the paintings, the drawings of the Chinese dynasty, which he used to admire in the books only. तो ये काफ़ी अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी थी कि जो चीज़ें उसने पढ़ी थी किताबों में अब वो सामने सामने देख सकता है. When Sir Alexander arrived in Peking after a journey by sea and land that took his party nearly 2 months, 2 महीने लगे थे उससे पेकिंग पहुंचने में. पहले तो उसने लैंड से पहले सी से सफ़र किया, उसके बाद लैंड से होते हुए ही रीच टू पेकिंग. सो इट टुक हिम 2 months. He presented his seals patent to Empress Suzy and a personal letter for her private reading from Queen Victoria. तो जब वो वहाँ पहुँचा तो ही हैड टू गिव समथिंग इन ऑर्डर टू गिव हिज ओन रिकग्निशन आइडेंटिटी. सो ही प्रेजेंटेड द सील्स to the Queen Suzy and a personal letter which was given for her by Queen Victoria. The Empress, dressed from head to toe in white and gold, received her new ambassador in the throne room of the Imperial Palace. So Imperial Palace में she was sitting, who? The Queen Suzy, and she was dressed in white and gold, and she welcomed the new ambassador. She was sitting in her throne. She read the letter from the British monarch while Sir Alexander remained standing to attention. So while she was reading, वो खड़ा था. Her Imperial Highness revealed nothing of its contents to the new minister, only wishing him a successful term of office in his appointment. Now, क्योंकि ये मिनिस्टर बन चुका था पैकिंग में, तो शी डिड नॉट टेल हिम एनीथिंग अबाउट द लेटर, बट उसको वेलकम किया कि आपकी इस नई पोस्ट के लिए आपको आई एम गिविंग यू बेस्ट विशेस. शी देन मूव्ड हर लिप्स स्लाइटली अप एट द कॉर्नर्स विच सर एलेक्जेंडर जज्ड करेक्टली टू मीन दैट द ऑडियंस हैड कम टू एन एंड. आफ्टर दैट शी मूव्ड हर लिप्स इन सच अ वे that Sir Alexander immediately came to know कि वो कहना चाह रही हैं कि मीटिंग ख़त्म हो गई है. As he was conducted back through the great halls of the Imperial Palace by a mandarin in the long court dress of black and gold, Sir Alexander walked as slowly as possible, taking in the magnificent collection of ivory and jade statues which were scattered casually around the building, much in the way Cellini and Michelangelo today lie stacked against each other in Florence. Now he was then guided his way by Mandarin. Mandarin वो है जो आपकी भाषा को, मतलब उसकी अपनी भाषा को क्वीन को समझा सकता था और क्वीन की भाषा को इसकी भाषा में बता सकता था. सो ही गाइडेड हिम द वे एंड उसको ले गया वो. लेकिन ये सर एलेक्जेंडर वॉज वॉकिंग विथ स्लो स्टेप्स बिकॉज ही वॉज ट्राइंग टू ऑब्जर्व ऑल द आइवरी एंड द जेड स्टैचूज विच वॉज scattered here and there. He had read about them so much, and so he was interested in seeing those statues also. So for today we are going to finish up till here only, because we have seen the storyline today and also the 2 pages of the story. We'll continue more in the next session. Thank you.